It's beach day and you're enjoying yourself in the ocean. The sun is out and the waves are nice. You're swimming further and further away from shore though. Suddenly something catches your eye. You look, it's large, it's grey, it's swimming fast, it's a shark. You swim away as fast as possible, constantly looking back and forth to see if he's still chasing you. And it is. It's too fast. It's too late. But what if you could swim faster and possibly survive? Swimming fast can help you in a variety of different scenarios. For example, impressing friends, physical fitness, and most importantly, it can save your life. I've had the privilege of swimming competitively for 6 years. I swam for a club, my school team. I've competed in Junior Olympics, Age Group Championships, and CIF. Today, I would like to inform you on various ways to improve your swimming and make you faster. For example, the location of where you swim, the way how you swim, and other bodily influences that affect your swimming speed. Now, let's talk about the first major factor of swimming speed, where you swim. The two categories I want to talk about. The first is open water swimming, like the ocean, and the second is swimming pools, like a hot tub or a lap swimming pool. So, firstly, in open water, like an ocean, there are different things that can affect your swimming that you may not have thought about. Some obvious ones are like turbulence, like currents and riptides, but there's some other ones you may have not thought about, like salt water and temperature. So, turbulence, like waves or riptides, can affect how hard it is for you to swim through the water. So if you're swimming in a still pool, you have no passive drag. That means there's no water pushing against you. But if you're swimming in the ocean, you have constant waves, seaweed, everything pushing against you. And this makes it harder to swim forward. Now, also open water swimming in oceans have salt water. Salt water actually makes it easier for you to swim because salt water is more dense than open water. Every stroke you take will have more material per stroke, and that makes it easier to swim. It makes you propel faster with each stroke. Now, ocean water is also notoriously cold. It can be up to 50 to 60 degrees on the warmer side, which is insane. Cold water can actually make it harder for you to swim because your body tries to consolidate all of its heat. That's why you shiver. So, when you're shivering and swimming, you can't swim as fast because your body can't allocate as much energy to swim. Secondly, in swimming pools, in a hot tub, the temperature is so hot that you sweat. And if you ever try to run a marathon or run anywhere in 90-degree weather, it's really hot. It's really hard because your body is trying to sweat out all of the excess heat. Now, that's a major downside of hot tubs for swimming, but you're not going to face a shark in swimming in a hot tub. So, talking about temperature. So, passive and active drag is also a big part of lap swimming because in an ocean there's no walls that confine the liquid. We have the shore, but that doesn't count. We're talking about closed walls like a swimming pool has. It also has lane lines. So lane lines and the wall provide passive drag because when you swim, you provide active drag. Active drag is your personal pressure that you put on the water and pushing it away. But this surreptitiously causes passive drag because when you hit the lane line or when you hit the cement wall, the waves push back, and that can make it slower for you to swim. So, to combat this, if you're ever in a race, you always want to go in the middle of the pool, furthest away from the walls. Now, chlorine water. Ocean water has salt water. Chlorine water is in most swimming pools. Chlorine water is less dense than salt water because of the absence of salt. And this absence of salt makes it easier for your arm to move through the water. However, it doesn't make you as fast because for each stroke, you don't have as much material. Now, secondly, a major deciding factor of the speed is how you swim. When we talk about how you swim, we refer to something called technique. And technique is basically trying to reduce the resistance of your body. So, body position in relation to hydrodynamics is basically you want a flat body. A flat body and to reduce surface area. So, for example, if you're swimming like this, you have all of your surface area the water has to push through and for you to get through. But if you have a flatter body, that means all of the water can just slide right past you. Now, having a smaller surface area for the body is beneficial, but having a larger surface area for your propulsion, a lift, we'll talk about later, is also beneficial. So, swimming completely underwater with the absence of drag is actually faster than any sort of swimming above water or at the surface. So, this is why whales, they swim underwater because they're faster, but yet they have to come up. to get oxygen. So they don't swim at the surface; they go back down. We can see this in professional swimming. It's called the streamline, which we'll see here in Caleb Dressel's 100-meter butterfly.
You know, it's not so much his reaction time. I mean, it's right there with everybody else. In fact, it's faster than anybody else, but not that much faster. It's what he does once he enters the water, Dan, that is just so impressive.
So we saw him go really fast, and that's because he maximized his surface area just for his kicks, but he minimized his surface area for the rest of his body. So the logistics of swimming is passive and active drag. You want to increase active drag and decrease passive drag. So a refresher, passive drag is the water resistance that pushes against you, and active drag is the resistance you place onto the water. So your active drag should always be more than your passive drag in order to move. So to reduce passive drag, we want to, well, first have a tight body, right? That's technique, but also the way what we're wearing and hair can also affect us. So hair and clothes all provide friction in the water, and this friction makes it harder for you to swim. So if you ever go into an ocean and wear a t-shirt, you know that when you come out it's all heavy and thick, and that actually slows you down, right? Now when it slows you down because it creates more surface area first of all, and you're heavier, and you require more energy to go through, right? So to reduce friction, we cut our hair or we take off our clothes, right, appropriately. So, but we also want to increase active drag. We increase active drag by pushing the water with more surface area. So for example, I am going to show you a beginner way of swimming where you would just put your hand down, right? So that means you only have the surface area of this one arm. But if I bend this arm and then push, I have the surface area of this whole arm. We can also see this in an example when you stick a hand out of a card. So when we stick a hand out of a card, we see that like this, it cuts through the air. Right? But the second we turn our hand 9 degrees, the air pushes against our hand, and we have a harder time swimming through. So, yeah. Next, momentum. Momentum is also important because it allows you to keep gaining speed as you go. So technically, the more you swim, the more momentum you gain, the easier it is to swim, because the momentum lets you use less energy to achieve the same speed. So for example, in Finding Nemo, Dory says, just keep swimming, because she is referring to momentum. So for example, back to the shark, if you're in the ocean and you keep looking back and forth to the shark, every time you look back and forth, you're pretty much stopping your momentum, and that means you have to build it up from scratch again. Lastly, there are genetic differences that you can't control, but there are also things you can control, like proper nutrition. So let's talk about that. So your different body types, gender, and nutrition can all affect your swimming speed. Gender plays a deciding factor in speed, sadly. There's a term professional swimmers use called VO2 max. O2 meaning oxygen. It's the amount of oxygen your body can use. So men can use around 70 to 85 milliliters of oxygen, while women can only use 60 to 75 milliliters. The more oxygen your body can use, the longer it can go swimming without being tired. Fat content is also a big key factor. The amount of fat in your body can affect your swimming, but not how you might think. You might think, oh, the fatter you are, the harder time you have swimming. Actually, the opposite. The more fat you have, the more buoyant you are, and the less energy you need to actually swim. So, women actually have around a 6 to 11% higher fat content than men. So that means they're better at long distance, because while fat also provides buoyancy, it also provides long-term energy. Men don't have as much fat, but they make up with muscle. Muscle uses short-term energy and it's a quick burst of speed. So women will be relatively better at long distance swimming, and men will be better at short distance swimming. So another large factor is nutrition. So carb loading is also a term that professional swimmers use, is to eat as much carbs as possible, because carbs are short-term energy, and the more short-term energy you have, the faster you can go in a short amount of time. It's like a fast, quick energy that you can easily consume. So foods that have lots of carbs are pasta, rice, whole grains, and quinoa. There are many more, but those are some of my favorites. So the way you treat your body has a major effect on your swimming potential. Also, your gender and stuff like that. So leading back to the shark example. Now, You have all of the necessary information you need to survive a shark attack, right? You know the benefits of swimming in the ocean. You have salt water to help you move faster. Technique, you know, to reduce drag and to keep your momentum. And then gender. You can't really change the gender that, sadly. But you can eat carbs beforehand. And eating carbs will provide you a quick, short-term burst of energy. So, a shark attack is only 1 in 11.5 million, but if it does happen, don't you want to live and tell the tale?